Welcome. My name is Severin Garrett, and I am so excited that you are joining us live or you're listening to the recording. This is our Monday night Health for Life team call, and we do this every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tonight we have a special treat, and we're going to hear from two of our team members about a wonderful application that you can use in your day-to-day business. Let me begin by saying a critical part of a successful Juice Plus business is creating a memory jogger and tracking our follow-up contacts with each of our prospects, each of our prospective customers and prospective team members. So we have learned about a great application that we can use, and Melissa Cutherbertson and Tiffiney Howard are going to share with us more about that tonight. Let me do a quick introduction and then I'll turn it over to them. If you are just joining us, if you'll mute yourself out so that we don't have any background noise, that would be great. And we will open up the floor for questions a little bit later. Melissa is a ministry leader of Celebrate Recovery in her church. She's been involved in that ministry for many years. She has a heart for Christ. I love the way she does life, and you'll enjoy getting to know her if you don't know her already. Tiffiney is an occupational therapist and a certified health coach, and she also loves the Lord and does serving opportunities in her church, but her primary role at this point is more on the health and wellness side, having to do with her occupational therapy and her health coaching business. So I'm going to turn it over to these girls. Melissa, I'll let you jump into the training.
Perfect. Well, hello, everybody. I'm very excited about teaching you this fun app that we found. Actually, it's on a mission-driven model, and we wanted to show you kind of how it's worked for us. It's been really successful for us. So, do I have control of the screen? Okay. All right, perfect. So, I can't see y'all. Hold on. Okay, can you see the screen? Nope. How do I? Did you flip it over to me, Severin, so I can take control of the screen?
You should be able to hit share screen at the bottom and then choose the app you want and then hit share screen one more time. Is that what you're doing?
Forgive me. Yes.
There you go. Good job.
Okay. I thought you had to do it. All right. Here we are. So basically, this is what you'll see when you download the app or on the computer. The cool thing about Trello is that it syncs up together. So if you download the app or if you're on the computer, you'll be able to see all of the same information. So this is a basic board. The background actually isn't typically that color, but we'll show you that later. So a board is basically your piece of paper for Juice Plus and how we're going to use it. And so you can call it what you want to. We called it Memory Jogger here. You can change the name to whatever you want. It's really easy and user-friendly. So the first thing you want to do is add a list. And a list is basically, for us, it could be prospects, customers, team, the different things that you want to be able to track. So I just simply click on there and spell things properly. Prospects, is that how you spell that? Okay, so this is where I would put a list of people that, as far as my memory jogger goes. So let's just say Jessica Smith is someone that I'm looking at Facebook and I'm just writing down a bunch of names. This is where I would put a bunch of names. Okay, so the other list that I like to use is customers. My team, I want to keep up with that. Knows and canceled. So that's just an idea. You can make lists however you want to make them. They're all custom. You don't have to do exactly this. This is just something that has worked for me. So I'm going to click into Jessica's name. And so basically, you know, how do I know Jessica is one of the ways that I want to kind of track and see. I can make a list, but maybe I want to put a little bit of detail in there about Jessica. So maybe I met Jessica at the gym. So I want to put that in there because as the list grows, the details are going to get lost. And when did I talk to them last and all of that. You can put all of that information in here. So now that describes Jessica. Let's see, I'm going to close out of here. Let me add a customer so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so I met her at church. So within the card, I can create labels. Labels are basically, it's just another way for it to pop up on my board to kind of stand out. So you can make labels, all types of labels. You can make labels in colors. Say that Lisa is she's a customer, she bought Omegas. So I can make a label, create a new label and call it Omega. Of course, I want to make it orange and create Omega. So you can see right here that it popped up Omega. Let's say that she shreds with us. So you can make all kind of labels. Basically, you just want to customize that to your liking. So now what this has done is I actually am able to see in a snapshot and not have to go inside the card to figure out where it is, kind of where they're at. If you already have 50 customers, you don't necessarily have to go in and add all of that back in. But I've definitely found with new customers, I like to see in a snapshot what it is that they have ordered. Maybe Omegas is not on there. That would flag me to send them an email. So you can just create that however you want. The other cool thing is a checklist. So at some of our trainings, we learned about the 10-day follow-up. That would be a great place to create this checklist. So let's see. I want to call this checklist 10-day follow-up. And it literally is that. It's a checklist. So let's see. I sent them the welcome email. Well, it's your first touch email. So I'm going to put that in. And then the next day I need to call them. And maybe I need to text them. So you can put the whole 10-day follow-up in there. And as I've completed the item, I just simply click it off. And now I know that the next thing I need to do, if they didn't respond, is to give them a call. And call them and literally check it off. So now that I've created that checklist, it actually saves as a template. So let's say that I wanted to create a checklist for Jessica. I just click checklist and I click here. And you can see that I can just click 10-day follow-up. It'll automatically add all of that into the format. Oh, that's a little bit different. But it's really easy, user-friendly. Okay, so same with our team. Maybe you can put in here, you know, when they became a team member, or basically any kind of detail that you want to do. We're going to show you in a few minutes what ours actually looks like. So, but that gives you a real quick snapshot on kind of how to set it up. Tiffany, I'm going to turn it over to you so that you can, let's see, once I figure out how to do that. All right. Tiffany, you want to take it from here? Are you able to see?
Yes, I am. Okay, so I am going to go over, let's see, I'll click into this customer card to do this since we already have like a 10-day follow-up here. So Melissa showed you how to do your labels and how to do your checklist. So say for your checklist, you want to keep track of a due date. So it's going to kind of come up as an alert for you. So you see along the side here under checklist, the next thing you would have is a due date. So if I know that with that 10-day follow-up that Melissa was talking about, you may call the person the first day or email them, let them know that you're going to call them the next day. If you call them the next day, you don't get an answer, you may want to text the next day, and then after that, you may wait 1 or 2 days. And so as an alert to yourself, what day you need to follow up with them, you can go ahead and put a due date in here. So say I want to go ahead, today is Monday, I'm going to follow up with Lisa on Wednesday at, we'll say 4 p.m. I can put that in there, I can save it, and then that's going to show up as a alert for me to do this task. The other thing, I'll go back into this due date. If you click here, you can see that it says enable the calendar. So if for those of you with iPhones, you can actually sync this to your iPhone. And if you don't have an iPhone, you can still, once you create this, once you create a due date, let me minimize this and move it over. Once you create a due date, you can actually, it'll pop up with the calendar here. If I can get it to open. Oh. Okay, my kid's moving a little slow. Okay, it looks like it's, oh no, okay, here we go. I'm like, I know that. So now when I click on the calendar, I can get a wide range snapshot of who it is that I need to follow up with on any given day. So we'll close back out of that and out of that. Okay. The next thing that may be of use to you all of these options, obviously you don't have to use, but for an attachment, and I won't be able to pull one in, but I can show you guys, again, like Melissa explained, when we show you our actual Trello boards that we're using. But in the follow-up, the 10-day follow-up, it actually recommends some videos that you can send to people at certain intervals, or even someone who's an actual customer, a video that you can send them at their 30-day window or their 60-day window. So what you can do is actually attach the link to that video here so that when it populates on your board, you can see that link, you can click on it automatically, and it makes it really easy instead of you having to go to mission-driven system every time. If you're already in Trello and you know a particular customer that you want to send a video to, you can copy that link from another customer's card and actually directly email them from Trello. And you guys will see again what that looks like. So typically in my description, I'll put the person's email address and their phone number. So when you click on their email address through Trello, whatever your default email is, so if you commonly use Gmail, or most people use Gmail now, so Gmail or Yahoo, it's going to automatically default to whatever email you use and email that person for you straight through Trello. And so that makes it easy because the link is there for you already. So you can copy and paste the link, put it into your email, and then send it off instead of having to click around in a lot of different places as you're going through your memory jogger. Now, down here in your actions, this move button. So let me click out of here. So we have Jessica here, who she's a prospect. We've been inviting her to events, and Jessica finally gives us a call and says, you know what, I am tired of getting all these colds. You know, flu season is going around. I know that you haven't been sick at all. I really want to go ahead and order. Instead of having to add another card for Jessica, complete a whole different card, we can go ahead and move Jessica. She's no longer a prospect. She's now a customer. And just click move. And you can see that in that one click, Jessica is now moved from our prospects to our customers. And so now, because Jessica is a raving fan of Juice Plus and she is loving the results and she's already sharing it with other people, we tell Jessica, why don't you just go ahead and pay $50 and become a rep? And so not only is Jessica a customer, but we're now trying to get her to be a part of our team. She hasn't said yes yet. So we want to keep her in our customer list, but we also want to now start thinking about her being on our dream team. So we're not going to move Jessica's information yet because she's not getting her product under her own name. What we can do though is copy her card, and now we can move it to our team and then create a card. And I'll click out of this. And so Jessica is still a customer of ours, but now we also want her to be on our team. And you can add a comment in, you know, if you've invited her to an event that's geared more towards adding people to your team, or if you've set up a three-way call to introduce the business to her, you can keep track of that in your comments as well. So that's typically the way that I use the copy button if I need to capture somebody's information, but in a different way, because not only are they a customer of mine, but I want them to be a team member. And I've also done this for people who may just be doing the shred. And I know, Melissa, you have some people who just do the shred, more so like the idea of the shred, but not really, you know, buying the products. And so that would be a good idea for them too. So they're doing the shred with us, or they've been to a couple of events, but we're still trying to either have them join us as a customer in the Healthy Living Revolution or as part of our team. So you want to keep them on that list where they truly belong, but then add them to the other list of where you're trying to encourage them to move towards. And the subscribe, that's essentially, this is not something that you would necessarily need. This is more, Trello initially was used as like a project management application. So if you were sharing this board with multiple people, then you would want to click the subscribe button, because then say Melissa and I were sharing a board for whatever reason, if I added any comments, then Melissa would be notified of that. But in general, when I write a comment, when you save it, as long as this is not highlighted, it won't, you know, it won't matter. And then I will show you all what it looks like. So now you can see that there's like a little eye in Jessica's, you know, menu bar here. And that just lets you know that if any changes are made to this card, whoever else has access to this board would be notified. As a rule of thumb, if you're the only one using your board, it's not necessary. And I actually unclick it if it does happen to populate when I write a comment, just because I like the board to actually have information that's pertinent for me to know, not extra stuff jumbling it up. So I think that we've gone through everything. So I don't know if you want to go turn it back over to your control, Melissa, and actually show them your board, and then we can unshare, and then, or do you want me to show mine first?
Whoops. I think I pushed a button.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, well, I can go ahead and show them real quick.
Okay.
So this is my board. It's busy, which means I'm working. So as you can see, I have all different types of labels that are working for me. These are my prospects, which means I haven't spoken to them yet. And when I start speaking to them, I move them over to working prospects. So this way I can keep a good long memory jogger of fresh. I really use this for daily method of operation so that I can keep up with what I'm doing. Am I putting 5 new names? Am I following up? So I use this whole thing for a daily method of operation. Working prospects, what's cool about the dates, so I put in due dates for when I spoke to them last, and I left Mike open. I did talk to him today. He wants me to print out the health study information for his doctor. I sent him a message on Facebook. So, I mean, how in the world would we track all of those details of all of those conversations? I should say liver. He has liver cancer. So it's really important for him to get on Juice Plus. And so I put this due date in here to follow up with him today. But let's say that I already talked to him, and I'm going to follow up with him on the 24th. I actually can sort this by due date. So it just shifted him down, and Nancy's his wife, so that works out good. But I can see how many comments that I've posted, you know, what I've said, all of that. I'm going to change that back because I need to really follow back up with him. So I also use tags for different reasons. So Tiffiney and I do a little bit different. I didn't even know about copy. So this is also why this training is great, because this, you know, there's so many different ways that you can use it. But I want Kayla on my team. So she's a team prospect. She's my dream team. She's a school teacher and she would rock this business. I had dinner with Kaylin, and so it's just different things. I invited Bonnie to an event in February. Because we have so many different events, I didn't know how to track that. I like what Tiffiney also has a cool idea about that, and we'll show you in just a second. So customers, these are my active customers and what they actually have ordered. I made the mistake of selling 1 bag of Complete to someone. And so working on that, but invited to an event, but how else would I remember that? You know, if she's a customer because she is using products, but she hasn't ordered the full product yet. So that's all of the details. Here's a Tower Garden prospect as well. And if you're on the call, please forgive me if I've got a note about you. I do have people that are shredding and just doing the food, and they can't afford to do the products yet, and that's okay. And so I have them here just to remind myself that they're shredding, they've just not ordered yet. As well as my team, if they have a heart, they've made it to direct distributor. And so that's just another fun way to be able to keep track of different things. Of course, I'm all about hearts. These are my no's. And I know that no is not forever, so I've got to go in and put some dates in, and just kind of maybe I just touch them once a year. I don't know yet, but it just I wanted to keep a list of the people who've said no, I use another product or whatever it is, or I'm not interested right now, but I do still want them on the list, and I don't want to delete them and keep them, you know, like I'm never going to reach out to them again. And then, of course, the cancellations. So we do have cancellations for different reasons. And so I keep track of that. But again, that doesn't mean they're going to cancel forever. It could just be financial. It could be that their doctor said that they couldn't do it right now and that they are going to start back up later. So I wanted to keep track of that. All right, Tiffiney, I'm going to flip back over to you.
Okay.
Once I figure out how to do it.
Oh.
There. Okay.
Okay. So I actually, if you can go all the way out, and then, do you have okay, you have my board. Okay. I didn't know that you still had access to it. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So this is how I did, how I use my board. So you can see that I have a list of, I feel like I can't scroll to the side, like I feel like I'm missing, oh no, maybe it just looks a little bit different on here. Okay, so I have my running list of prospects. I have my customers. And so what Melissa was talking about in terms of when we have different events and how I keep track of people. So I do this by making an actual list. So these are people who have come to an event, but they are not a customer yet. Actually, Naomi is a customer now, so I can take her off this list. But this just helps me keep track of how many events people are attending. You know, again, pretty much like how many touches and what type of events they are leaning, you know, more towards, so that helps me to say, okay, if I click on to Tori's name, she came to a wine and wellness. Or let's see, Judy, who's a mom I know from sports, she came to Taste a Shred. And so it kind of helps me with what types of events people would enjoy attending, so that as things come up, I can quickly come back to this list and say, oh, we're having this. I remember Judy enjoyed a class that was geared more towards exercise, so I can invite her to this other event that's geared more towards exercise, versus Tori, who wants more of like a mom's night out or a mom's night in. The other thing that I do that I think is a little bit different than Melissa is with the comments. So we can look at, I'll pull up Adrena. So if I pull this up, and I'm trying to get down. Okay. So what I do, because the other thing I like to quickly be able to glance at is how many touches I've had with someone. And so that can be, again, difficult if we're not keeping track or having to click into this each and every time. And so the only time I add a comment is if it's a touch. And so once I started using Trello, I had to go back and add some things in. So these dates at the bottom are not indicative of when I actually reached out to this particular prospect. She had been invited to a wine and wellness, invited her to the Taste of Shred. Right after the new year, I sent out an email to prospects. We were supposed to get together for yoga, but then I did put in here that was canceled. She ended up with the flu. So I, of course, followed up with her with that. And then followed up again at the end of January. And I need to add another comment in. I did reach out to her just about a week ago. But what that allows me to do is if I click out of here, when I look here, this little bubble is for a comment. So I can see that I have touched Adrena 5 times. And so it's just a very nice visual to say I've touched her 5 times. And, you know, we all know that for some people it's 7 to 10, some maybe 10 to 20 touches, but it's a good way to just really keep track of that. The other thing that I like to be able to look at a glance is, again, this checklist, which, you know, this is a friend of mine, so we've kind of gone back and forth or whatever. So her checklist is a little bit off. But at the last point that I had made contact with her, it was, you know, she was at day 4 out of 10. And so I can quickly just glance at that card from this main screen and see that she's at 4 out of 9 on this checklist. For my customers, what I tend to do, again, so you can see here, I have the email address, the home address, phone number, all of that information. And I'm going to scroll up just so I'm not giving out all of her information. But I have my customer care checklist too for my customers. And same thing, I click through that. And you can see here that I just followed up with her recently. And she's about due for, well, no, I did her day 30 already. So I can go ahead and click that due date is done. And I'll go ahead and do that since I'm in there. And so now I know that that's done. And what I would do now is go back into my due date and then put my reminder in for my 60-day follow-up. And Shantae is somebody who I talk to on a regular basis, so it's not as rigid that I need to keep in contact with her according to that schedule, because we're talking on a more regular basis anyway. But for people who are truly just somebody who, you met kind of randomly, it's a great idea to put them on that schedule and put the due dates in so that they don't slip through the cracks. And you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, they ordered their product a month ago and I haven't reached out to talk to them. So it's just like a second layer. I know that the company sends us out emails as well. And then as you can see with the labels, I've put in here like what products they're ordering. And then if it's something that I think that they might be interested in, I go ahead and add that on there too, so that I'm sending them information on that and trying to get them to add products that they, that they're not currently using. The other thing, Melissa showed me how to use the sticker. So Latoya, who's on the call, she just made it to BF. So I put a little rocket ship. So she had her heart because she was at DD, and now she had a rocket ship because this girl is taking off and doing amazing things. So that is how I use my board. And then I will show you guys a quick little thing. So for the background, because Melissa mentioned that, you would just click here under change background, and they have different colors or pictures, and I'll click in there. And so you guys can choose like whatever background you like, or if you just like a color. So mine, if the words weren't on there, it just says do something great. So I liked that for my Juice Plus Trello board. So yeah, I think that's it. Did I miss anything, Melissa?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay. Oh, the sticker. Okay. I guess since I'm still controlling the screen, I'll go ahead and show them that too, Melissa.
Okay.
Okay, so with the stickers, it's under that same menu tab. So you're gonna click here, show menu, and then the stickers are here, and you literally just pull it and pop it over. So, and that's about it. Pretty simple with that. And they have, some to choose from, a couple to choose from. It's just fun.
All right.
Okay.
We want to open it up for questions. Well, you want to stop recording?